CSUT Teachers Union, Communication Workers of America, CWA, the IBEU, Transit Workers, ATU, firefighters, social workers, postal workers, United Auto Workers are here. All right. Rochester Labor Federation, Metro Justice, DSW, and United Steelworkers. So thank you guys so much. This is incredible. This is incredible. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to introduce some of our speakers tonight. Our first one up is the president of RUNAP, the OG, like one who got everything started. It's Carmen Camelio. He is a long-time intensive care unit nurse.
Well, thank you. Hear me okay? Well, yeah, I'm Carmen. I'm the president of RUNAP, and I just want to say thank you all for coming out. What a fucking great crowd. Excuse my language. That's the nighttime ICU nurse coming out. So I've been here for about 20 years, and we've been, I gotta say, when I started here, I thought it was a great place. And over the last 10 to 15 years, it's just been going downhill. We've seen administration after administration making bad decisions, making decisions that make it difficult for us to care for our patients.
She still work at ESL? You still work at ESL?
Anyway, after COVID, we started seeing travelers coming in making 2-3 times as much as we were, getting to dictate the terms of their employment. And we got a little fed up. We're having we've been working understaffed for so long. And a bunch of us got together and we said, enough's enough. It's time to stand up for our patients. We're not backing down. And we decided to get together and form our own union. And last July, we won the biggest union election in Rochester in a few decades. Thanks to the diligent work of so many of you out here tonight. We also want to thank very much our friends in the Rochester labor community for being out here supporting us. We know we're going to win with your help. Anyway, I just want to finish by saying thank you to everybody. We're not backing down. We're going to win this contract, and we're going to take wonderful care of our patients just like we used to, for our community, for our family, for everybody.
All right, Carmen, thank you so much. Next up, we have Jeannie Moran. She's a longtime RGH nurse.
Yeah, Jeannie.
Hi, everybody. Thanks again for showing up full force. It's a great crowd, great energy. I just wanted to get up here and also echo a little bit about what Carmen said. I've been here about 17 years now, and I've always felt like Rochester General has been my home, my second home, because we spend so much time here. It's a family. And I came from mostly cardiac, almost 15 years of cardiac care, and sadly left that unit about a year and a half ago, along with a lot of my other colleagues. We bled through about 35 nurses in about 6-7 months' time. Due to the administration not listening to the fact that we cannot wean care down to the base, the minimum, the bare minimum. We're taking care of very serious patients here. They're your loved ones, they're your neighbors, your friends, your family, and we need to keep patients safe and advocate for them. That's our number one job as nurses, and we're not going to stop doing that. As the pandemic came and went, we're still in this same mode here at Rochester General, bare minimum. And we're not going to take it anymore. We're going to advocate for us, our patients. We're going to keep care where it should be. And we're just really thankful that everyone here is coming out to support us. and appreciate all your efforts in helping us win our contract.
All right, thank you, Jeannie. Thank you very much. All right, so next up we've got Stacy Jetson. She's a nurse in the ED. She's been here a long time as well.
So I want to thank everybody for coming out today to support this cause. We've been at this a long time. Like they said, my name's Stacy Jetson. I've been an RN here at Rochester General for quite a while. I've worked here for 23 years. I started as a tech. In those 23 years, I've seen quite a lot. But I've never seen things quite as bad as they are today. We're here today because we don't have the resources or the staff we need to do our job safely and effectively. Nurse-to-patient ratios are at unsafe levels. Some places within the emergency department, nurses are caring for up to 10 patients and sometimes more at a time. As the patient census rises, the ratios are also rising. I remember a day when I cared for 27 patients in the atrium. This is a room that they ended up putting recliners in and left patients in these recliners for days on end. I didn't have any support staff to help me, and for 4 hours, with leadership well aware of what was going on, I was the only person in charge of 27 patients. Every time a patient needed to go to the bathroom or labs needed to be sent, those 27 patients were then left alone while I took a patient to the bathroom or went to another department to send labs. Not only was I the only nurse, but no one else around could help. Every time patients need help, they rely on us. It's not the only time staffing in the ED has been unsafe. It happens so frequently we could be here all night discussing it. But the reality is staffing all over the entire hospital is horrible. And this impacts the ED as well. As the rest of the hospital closes beds and sometimes entire units due to unsafe staffing levels, patients begin to back up in the ED with no inpatient beds to transfer them to. This causes new patients arriving in the ED to not have beds to be placed into. When the patients come in by ambulance, these ambulances then have nowhere to unload their patients to. There was a night that one patient from an ambulance had to wait so long on the stretcher that unfortunately they passed away and no one knew that he passed. By the time they realized the patient had passed, there was nothing we could do for them. While these patients are laying on these stretchers, these ambulances aren't getting to the community. So while you're calling for help at home, your ambulance very well could be sitting in our emergency room with a patient on that stretcher. After this, one of our longtime nurses in the emergency room quit, no longer able to sit and watch what was going on. Fear of having one of their patients die while they were in triage, they left the facility. Every day, nurses in the ED are working in fear of causing unintentional harm to patients or losing their license due to an error brought on by unsafe working conditions. This isn't fair to the nurses, the patients, the family, or our community. We want leadership to recognize that we need not only to be able to recruit, but also retain some skilled and quality nurses. Traveling nurses and new nurses do not hold the knowledge of our facility and our policies. That takes time and experience that our dedicated and committed longtime staff nurses have. Another problem that comes with short staffing is that patients that can no longer care for themselves are left for extended period of time without having their basic needs met. In the emergency room, these patients can be laying on stretchers or chairs with their most basic needs not being met. Lastly, leadership knows they need to stop the retaliation. All nurses need to continue to try and make their work environment better and safer for both themselves and our patients. We deserve this, and you will not bully us into stopping. We will continue to fight against the unfair labor violations, and we will come out on top. If our leaders and administration are not willing to fight for our patients and our community, we will.
Okay, all right, Stacey. Phoebe Sheehan. She's an ICU nurse. Hi everyone, my name's Phoebe. I'm a nurse in the ICU and have been for the last 2 years. ICU patients are the sickest of the sick in the hospital. They're often on multiple forms of life support. They require great attention to detail and a fast reaction time when something changes for the worst. At RGH, we hire new grads into the ICU, which believe me, I think is great. They are smart and capable people who want to be with you on the worst day of your life. And when you're fresh out of school, you're already conditioned for the huge amount of learning that you're about to embark on during your orientation period. But what a new nurse might not yet understand is that working in critical care will take parts of you that you will never get back. You will mourn people whose names you forget, and you will feel guilty because that's not your grief to have. You will share those worst days with your patients and then be asked to continue doing your job for 8, 10, or 12 more hours. And I could speak endlessly about how new graduate nurses need seasoned and skilled preceptors to teach them the policies, the procedures, the hemodynamics, and the science behind what we do every day. But they also need kind and seasoned preceptors to mentor them how to navigate not breaking from the ICU and it forcibly showing you your own mortality every day. The problem is that we are running out of experienced nurses in this hospital. 2 years ago, administrators and executives at RGH called us heroes from the comfort of their own homes. What we needed then and what we need now is an administration that cares. Cares enough to make an attempt at keeping experienced nurses who can foster an environment for our newest nurses to care for both your loved ones and for themselves. We've seen troves of nurses leave this hospital because of burnout, both old and new. We've seen nurses leave this entire profession altogether, and we've seen nurses take their own lives. We are no longer asking. We are demanding an administration that is going to make this hospital safer for everyone that walks through those doors. We are demanding safe staffing ratios because it keeps our nurses from burning out and leaving and your loved ones alive. Investing in our nurses now means building a wealth of knowledge and resilience in our ICUs and every other unit in this hospital. Absolutely no one loses when nurses are taken care of, because I promise you, when we have more to give, we give it right back to those patients in those walls. Next up, we've got Jillian Kingley. She's a labor and delivery nurse. Come here for her.
Awesome, Phoebe.
My name's Jillian Kingsley, and I've been a labor and delivery nurse at Rochester General since 2012. Rochester is my community. I am a Mercy alum, I'm a St. John Fisher alum, and I've chosen to stay in Rochester because this is where my friends and family are. In the past 3 years, labor and delivery has lost over 27 nurses. That's over 300 years of combined experience lost. When you lose experienced nurses, you lose leaders, mentors, and decrease morale across the board, and inevitably compromise patient safety. We've had to interrupt and delay care for mothers at risk because we didn't have enough nurses to care for them. That puts both mom's life and baby's life at risk. When we went to administration with our concerns for losing staff, we were told we were lucky to have a job, and we were all replaceable. Replaceable at RGH means spending over $270 million on travelers who are not part of this community or as deeply invested in this community. Rochester has 7 nursing schools, and according to the Office of Professions, there are over 12,000 registered nurses in Monroe County alone. This isn't a nursing shortage. There's a shortage of nurses willing to work in these conditions. It is time for RGH to do better and give us a fair contract that attracts nurses to us and retains experienced nurses.
All right, next up we've got Amy Smith. She is a former and future Rochester Regional Nurse. Hi, so my name is Amy Smith, and I'm a nurse. And 1 year ago, I was fired from Unity Hospital for trying to start a union. I'm going to tell you my story, but first I have to tell you a story that I think a lot of you will appreciate about my grandmother. Back in 1982, my grandmother tried to start a union at the little hospital where she worked. And wherever there's a nurse that's trying to start a union, you will find union busters that are trying to stop her. And so they would try to intimidate my grandmother. They would follow her to the grocery store, to the bank, to the post office. One day they followed her home and they parked in front of her house across the street. And a couple hours of this, my grandmother got tired of it. And she went out on her front porch for all the world to see, and she flipped the union busters off with both hands. She never saw them again. True story. 40 years later, I'm a nurse. And I remember in nursing school, they asked me, this is how you're going to prioritize. You're going to ask yourself, what's going to kill my patient first? That's going to be your priority. And in nursing school, it never occurred to me that management would be the biggest risk to my patient. Patient-staff ratios, few, if any, unlicensed staff. Zero incentive to retain dedicated, talented nurses. Begging, pleading with management would fall on deaf ears while dollars kept falling into their big fat cat pockets. They couldn't hear us over the riffle of their wad of bills. So, 4 years ago, it occurs to me what my grandmother was fighting for. And so I got in touch with Nella and Nate. And we tried to start a union at Unity Hospital. We'd get a little bit of traction. And then the nurse would say, I can't be where my patients aren't safe. I can't be where my license isn't safe. And they would leave. And so I would start over, and I'd start over, and start over. And about a year ago, I was outed. And where there's a nurse trying to start a union, there are going to be union busters who try to stop her. And so management on union busters' advice said, Amy, you have to go. Of course, they couldn't fire me for trying to organize. So they made stuff up. Disciplined me for things that no one before or since has ever been disciplined for. And they said, Amy, you're not safe. You're fired. You're never able to work at a Rochester Regional Health Facility ever again. And the 200 hours of vacation time that you banked because you are not going to leave your coworkers stranded, we're taking that too. I had no choice. So now, 3 weeks ago, the National Labor Relations Board decided that I was fired unfairly. And now I want my job back. I didn't start this for nothing. I didn't put my family through hell for nothing. I didn't come this far just to come this far. I'm going to finish what I started. When they fired me, they thought they could intimidate me like a bully on a playground. We're bigger than you.
we're stronger than you. We've got more money than you. Don't you dare. Their message was, don't you dare. And they tried to send a message to the nurses at Unity Hospital who might have the audacity to stand up for their patients or themselves and said, we did it to her, we're going to do it to you. So be careful. But I want my job back because I have a message for them. The message I have for them looks an awful lot like my grandmother standing. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you for hearing me. Keep fighting. Thank you so much.
You're freezing. You're gonna be freezing.
All right, next we've got Corey Gambini. She is the president of CWA Local 1168 in Buffalo, the union for the Kaleida Health employees. All right.
Good afternoon, sisters and brothers! We are Union Strong. We are Union Strong. You guys are in the fight of your life, but do not give up. I've been a nurse, and I know I don't look this old, but I've been a nurse for 38 years. I spent 16 of my years non-union. Kaleida Health, at that time was CGF, we did a merger, and nursing was not going to look the same again. Finances, everything was looking at money, insurance companies, you guys know it. I know it's in the history of healthcare in the last 30, 40 years, you know the story. So, Buffalo General Hospital was union. SEIU, I can see people here from SEIU. The non-union hospitals then organized, and then we were a force to be reckoned with. We had close to 8,000 union members, and we started bargaining a master agreement. Guys, it's not easy. There's times I was scared to death to approach management, but we all stuck together, and we've waxed and waned over the years, right? Because the one thing hospital administration has done to every single one of us across the country is to say they'll never walk. They won't go. They're nurses. They're healthcare workers. And we're caregivers. And it's the hardest thing to do. But you must stand together and you must fight. We bargained a contract in Buffalo, New York, because I also represent Catholic health system workers. We put a bunch of hospital workers, registered nurses, and a bunch of other job titles out on strike, if anyone knows that, from last year. They were on strike for 6 weeks. That started the ball rolling in Buffalo, New York. Because Kaleida Health knew we would walk. We made it very clear from the beginning we would strike if we did not get a contract that we deserved. The strike in Buffalo at South Buffalo Mercy scared the heck out of them, and we had our members mobilized, stuck together, and we got the best wage package seen from probably a couple 100 miles away. I think the next place you're going to go is we're very getting close to New York City. I believe you guys are using our contract, and I am so happy you guys are doing it because you deserve it. You shouldn't be $10 behind us. Those travelers, if they would pay people the wages and benefits that you all deserve, people wouldn't be leaving to travel. They'd come back to their hometowns to work. Hospital administration, even in Buffalo, and some of our political elected officials, believe that they should cap the salaries of the travel nurses. And I get it. People normally will say, yeah, you probably should do that. Because it does bust your chops that you're standing next to these nurses that are making $120 an hour and you're making $35 or $40. But why the CEOs don't cut their paychecks, right? Why are we going to do it to workers? They have driven our wages up. So now you have to stand strong and tell them that you're not going to settle for anything less. The best caregivers are those that are committed to the community, not these travelers that are coming in and bringing their money back to out of state. You guys are the best. You know your community, you love your community, and you want to take care of those patients. But they are going to try to wear you down. Don't let them wear you down. When you want to give up, and I have crawled in my house midnight, up my stairs where I couldn't even walk from walking halls and talking to our members, you cannot give up. You have to stay strong. You're not going to win this unless you all stick together. And you have a commitment from CWA back in Buffalo, District 1, our area director, Debbie Hayes, and our vice president, Dennis Trainer, who said to me, please give them a message. If you need our help, we will be there. We know the strategy. We have been organized and fighting hospital administration for over 40 years. We know how to march on the boss. We've got more stories and more stuff ideas we can give you guys to help you guys, number one, have fun doing it and make sure that you kick their asses because we're doing it for our patients. Stay together in solidarity. CWA is with you every step of the way. We're only an hour down the road. Take care.
All right, and last up, we've got Tim Barbado, the president of Teamsters.
Welcome to the labor movement. It's a privilege to be here standing with you while you're making history. I want to thank your leadership for inviting me to speak today. They're doing a great job. Stick with them. They'll get you through this despite the $1.3 million spent on union avoidance. Waste of money, in my opinion. You know, they may have all the money, but the power is right here. By standing strong, right? If I had any advice to give the CFO up there, I would say invest your next $1.3 million in your workers, in wages, benefits, and working conditions. And you wouldn't have to worry about job retention. You know, we have 1.3 million too. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters is 1.3 million members strong. And I'm here to tell you today that Teamsters Local 118 has your back.
Thank you so much, Tim. We also just want to mention, we know that you guys are gearing up for a big strike. I just want to real quick mention Teamsters are gearing up for a big strike later this year. UPS, and we will be there to stand with you guys. We totally love your support, and thank you guys for coming out today. The truck is incredible. That's pretty much it. We're wrapping it up. I mean, 3 hours. That's it for our speaking. So everybody get out there. Let's do it.
We're going to form up and we're going to march through the main entrance.